You do the work now, and all of the shit that you could ever want to do for your family, your kids, your loved ones, it's all going to be on a whole nother stratosphere. It's time to stay focused.
The spirit of Detroit.
You too. Like, comment, subscribe. I got a superstar panel here with a ragtag background. So please, give me some humility, patience, adulation, and admiration. We got Easy of Woodward Sports. Woodward Sports was in the building.
What up, man? Thanks for having me.
This is how we mend our relationship with Woodward Sports. We put them on the show, we talk, we have positive discourse, and we grow. We got Ted Rath, NFL Insider, on the show today. On the show. What's going on, Ted Rath?
Guys? Great to be here. Appreciate it.
We got Walter Stringer of Lions Avenue. I was about to say Lions Nation. Lions Avenue. Lions Avenue. This is my guy, bro. This is my guy. I drew a blank.
Just regular old me, man.
Nah, I drew a blank. And we got the star-studded cast with you. Just add value and credibility to any podcast you're on. So shout out to you. We got John Macaroon in the building.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Wait a minute. Spirit of Detroit and Woodward Sports had beef? What's that about? What's going on? Beefing already? What's going on? I mean, it's fun to talk. It's fun to talk about stuff like that. But listen, let's keep it civil. All right, let's keep it civil here. Not like the Lions destroying teams out there on the field. You know.
Amen.
It's good times, man. What a great week. What a great season. I think everybody's riding high with everything going on. With the Detroit Lions, man. It's the best time to be a content creator. I know easy shows are blowing up. Everybody's doing podcasts, and it's just really, finally for everybody paying attention to the Lions, some positivity on a national stage. And to see, I think for everybody that saw it this week, to see 10 national media outlets rank the Lions number one, it was just beautiful to see.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think it's tremendous, man. All of us have been on the other side of this. Like, have you heard Chicago Bears content creators though?
Who?
Bears radio is awful, man. It's sad right now, man. It's sad, bro. It's sad, man.
What's fun is, a couple of NFC North podcasts will invite me. So I just go on there and rip on Bears fans, man. It was great. And they were broadcasting yesterday, so I just slipped in there for like 2 minutes, and I was like, hey, losers, what's going on? You can't execute a field goal. So they're just like, fun banter. And when you can go finally into other shows and talk trash, it's great. Bears fans are just utterly miserable. But, man, the Packers and Vikings keep winning. The only losses that they're really racking up are to the Lions. So these other games coming up against the division rivals are going to be fun and competitive.
How about the fact they had a 12-man on the field, a false start, and they still gave up a touchdown? It don't get much worse than that. And then they have the game-winning opportunity, and then they botched that too.
In the entire division, it's the best division in football, so it makes it look so much worse. It's the optics of that. You got literally 3 teams. You're probably going to have 3 playoff teams, and you look at what they're doing. They're literally a dumpster fire. It's a bad time to be a Bears fan.
Yeah. So let me start with that. Let me start with that question. Are we running away with this division? Are we running away? Hold on. I got a mystery person here. Who is that? Is that Mike? Is that Mike?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, yeah, man. What's up, man?
The all-star cast for sure.
All-star cast, man.
Sorry, I'm on my cell phone, bro, so that's why I gotta use the camera off here.
Oh no, we got Money Mike in the building. We got
You got
Money
a lot
Mike.
of us in the bathroom, Mike. We know.
You'd be hearing some funny noises if that was the case. So give me about a minute.
He's taking a Chicago Bear right now.
Yeah.
Yep, and I'm gonna wipe my Minnesota Viking.
Yeah. Are we running away with this division, guys? I'm gonna start left to right, top to bottom. Are we taking away this division because you see the optics? I think Ted touched on it. You're in a heated battle. The Vikings are in a heated battle last week or the week before last with the Jaguars, and it's coming down to 12-7, and then we just annihilate the Jaguars. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I think so, man. Detroit Lions division to win. We already went to both. The only place that are going to give us trouble, our only two teams that give us trouble in the division, were the Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. And we went to their house, put our foot on their coffee table, and demanded a sandwich both times. This is our division to win. Yeah, and honestly, I still think the Vikings might crash out a little bit. Yeah, they won the last two games, but they weren't very impressive wins. They weren't teams either.
What do you think, Ted?
Yeah, I'd second that. I think number one, they can absolutely. This is a team. It's the best team in football right now, and they're hot. They're playing streaky. Their coordinators are calling phenomenal games, and the players are stepping up. Players that are filling in are also stepping up. I think that's the one thing. They have to maintain that mentality. They have to maintain the gritty mentality that Dan Campbell has built in here in Brad Holmes. They have to maintain that because what they can't do is believe what we're talking about, right? We're the best team in football. We can just show up. There's a fine line between confidence in this league and having your ego kick in. They need to stay humble. They need to stay hungry. And I think they will because they have the right leadership in there. But you have to talk about Anzalone, which I know we'll get to. And, we're still dealing with the loss of Aiden Hutchinson. So you look at those things, they have to be cognizant of that. You have to maintain that killer mentality, whether you're the best team in the league or the worst team in the league. You better show up every freaking Sunday because you need to show up and put your best foot forward like they did last week. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat the way that you're supposed to do it, and we'll be fine. I think they're going to have a chance, but they got to maintain that anger and that hunger and that'll give them that edge.
Yeah, Mike, what's your take on this?
Yeah, we're definitely going to be kings of the North. We are the best team in the NFC North physically. We are the best team when it comes to roster standpoint. Got the best record. We're already beaten up on teams. And we get to face the rest, basically the NFC North at our house instead of just going on the road, except for Chicago. When you look at the schedule, I think the Lions could really put it away in the next couple of weeks. Specifically, if we beat Green Bay again, I think that would knock them out. So, yeah, I do believe we are the class of the NFC North.
Yeah, definitely head and shoulders above the rest. John Macaroon.
Yeah, it's
you're in the facility. You see these guys every day. Like, what's the temperature over there? Like, and what do you think we can run away with? Like, this is going to be a 15-1 team, 17-1, 16-1 team.
It's a confident bunch, man. They are striving. And the good thing is, and I know everybody here can kind of understand the notion, is they're competitive guys that are also really, at this point in time, it doesn't really matter about the other teams. It's a group that wants to reach their potential. And when you have hungry, gritty guys, there really is no satisfaction. And until they hoist the Lombardi trophy, they're still chasing. They're hungry. And I can relate to that attitude, no doubt about it, starting from the bottom. From where I started from, I can understand it. And then you look at it from the perspective of ultra competitive individuals, where you're not even satisfied by winning by 10 points. You want to go out there. And I thought that it was telling the way in which the Lions played against the Jaguars. They really treated when you ask me what the temperature is, they treated the Texans game like a loss. And they wanted to get back to play better on the offensive line. And the reason why the Lions are going to win the division is they got the best quarterback in the division. And when Jared Goff's playing at that level where he's finding all the targets, making the right reads, has all the answers, the Lions offense is going to be unstoppable. And when you see Jahmyr Gibbs emerging, it's just a fun time because you're starting to see a lot of young potential, a lot of young, talented football players really start to meet their potential. And, it has the feel of a team that can do some big things in the postseason as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna put a needle in the haystack with Walter Stringer. I know me and you talk about it offline all the time. How we gonna beat the brakes off this division? But I don't even think this division worthy of anything.
Nah. I think at the beginning of the season, for me myself, I had Green Bay as far as being our toughest competition. I know you had the Vikings. The Vikings started kind of hot, but I think a lot of the success they were having was masking the problems that Sam Darnold was having. Even when they were undefeated before they played us, Darnold was turning the ball over. Since he's played us, he's turned the ball over a bunch. That Jet game, you could argue, not the Jet game, but that Jaguars game, you can argue he almost tried to give it away single-handedly himself in the red zone multiple times. I think the Vikings are going to fall off. I don't think they're a playoff team, honestly. When you look at how they played against lesser competition since they lost to us, something's going on with that team. Overall, I think they were playing a little bit above their heads anyway the first few weeks of the season. Green Bay, as far as them, they're solid offensively, but at the end of the day, their quarterback can't stop turning the ball over. The defense is always inconsistent on a week-to-week basis, especially the pass defense. They spent a lot of high picks in the first round and second round on front seven players. A lot of those front seven players are still underachieving. Looking at guys like Lucas Van Ness and Quay Walker. What's the other kid from Georgia? Was it Wyatt, I believe? Not Wyatt. The other kid. Either way.
Devontae Wyatt.
Yeah. Although Carl Brooks has been a good player, he hasn't been as good as he was last season. But, and I said this about Green Bay about 3 weeks ago. What's preventing them from me putting them into the elite category is the fact that your quarterback is averaging an interception a game. That's not going to work. You can't play elite football, and people may think, what is one interception per game? One interception per game can tilt 2 or 3 games, if you're not careful. And the interceptions he commits out there are bad ones. They're not like the tip balls that you saw Jared Goff go through a couple weeks ago against the Houston Texans. They're him just forcing the football downfield a la old school Brett Favre. And that's not going to work. So, like I said, when you look, and then, of course, Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, rookie quarterback, firing your OC, lame duck head coach, malcontent wide receiver that doesn't want to be there. There's just too much going on for the Bears, honestly. I never believed they were going to be any threats this year. They may still be another year or 2 away. And like I said, Green Bay's too inconsistent. The quarterback is too inconsistent with his play. He's too hot and cold right now. Minnesota's got Sam Darnold. Case closed. and Detroit we've got the best of everything. Best secondary, best run stopping, best rushing attack, best culture. Like, everything is going in our favor. We're red hot right now. And like you said, we've beaten both teams on their home field. There's going to be too much to play for down the stretch for Dan Campbell to let up. They're going to want to destroy Green Bay in a few weeks. Yeah. And then week 18 against Minnesota, whether we have anything to play for or not, they're going to want to step on Minnesota. That's just how this team is wired. So, yeah, I don't see anything stopping us other than maybe injuries at a bad position, maybe safety or quarterback for that matter. But this team has shown they're too resilient, man. And shout out to the position coaches, too. We talked about Terrell Williams, the job he's done with those defensive tackles, considering the amount of extra work that's been put on their plates this season, having to actually be the run defense as well as pick up and do double duties as far as being the consistent pass rush on the interior. So they've been too resilient all season. I don't see anything stopping this team. Not anybody in this division.
Right.
Not at all.
I want to actually get to Alex Anzalone, and just I feel like that's going to be a big hit. And I'm gonna go off kilter here. I'm gonna start with Ted Raff because he's obviously his background with injuries. Take the cake. You've been around it. You've trained Jared Goff. You've done so much, not just in NFL, but just outside. Ted Raff, Alex Anzalone, forearm injury. What do you make of that?
Yeah, first and foremost, I'll echo what Walt just said too. Terrell Williams, I worked with him in Miami. That's a great shout out because he is doing a phenomenal job. There's so many guys on that staff, the unsung heroes. We always talk about Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. You got to talk about this entire staff, man. Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes. Once again, shout out to them because they have built a championship caliber staff, leads to championship caliber players and really outcomes. So it's a marriage that's working right now. For Anzalone, It's a 6 to 8 week injury. You know, a broken forearm, once again, the first thing that you're kind of concerned about anytime you have this, if it is surgical, then you worry about some of the wound healing, you worry about infection, all that stuff. But just a standard clean break, it's going to look like a 6 to 8 week injury. So you're going to look at getting this player back for the playoffs, which is huge. I always think from the cultural standpoint, right? Football is a culture sport. We've talked about it. John touched on it. This is a championship culture because they are built on grit. They're built on hard work. They're built on toughness. You see that exude every time they take the field. This guy is embodiment of that, you know. So you're losing not just the talent of the player, you're losing defensive quarterback, if you will, because he's making specific calls. He's helping get the alignment for the front. He's doing a lot, but he's also part of that culture. So do you miss a little bit? Yeah, I think they're tough enough to overcome it. Once again, we're talking about phenomenal leaders, and we're talking about guys that are willing to step up, and that's what this team has done all year. That's part of being a gritty team. You got to be able to never blink, never flinch. If you lose your best player, you just show up tomorrow and you go to work. So I think that's what we're seeing. I'm not really worried about it, and I think they'll get them back for the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that my first thought about the injury, and I'm going to go to easy, obviously, but I was devastated because the guys are dropping like flies. You know, they have the toughness, they have the grit, but guys are dropping like flies, and it's concerning to a certain degree. What do you think, Easy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more hurt for the player just because he kind of came in here, not really a big name guy. He had dealt with some injuries before with the Saints, and then he kind of grew into like a lovable guy. I mean, you have sections of the crowd that have the blonde wigs. They call themselves the Fanzalone. He's become that guy. I'm telling you, after this postseason run, because he'll be back to the postseason now, he's going to get the Head and Shoulders commercial. He's going to be all over the place. Alex Anzalone, I love him, man. And I think he plays a will spot nice. Obviously, Jack Campbell, though, he kind of cut his teeth, you know, at the will spot last year. So I think he'll hold that down. I don't know what we're going to do with the Mike. And obviously, they signed David Long Jr. too. But in the long run, I just think the way we execute things as a team, from Kelvin Shepherd, and you mentioned the coaches, I think Kelvin Shepherd, Terrell Williams, will make that a little bit of a seamless fit there, whoever decides to fill in. I mean, those defensive tackles we have are going to make the job a lot easier on whatever linebackers we have back there. So I think in the long run will be okay, but it just sucks for Anzalone because we watched him come so far, you know, as a player, and just, you want him to be a part of this run, which he will be when it matters, and that's the postseason.
Yeah, I used to say Alex Anzalone. It was so bad with me and Alex Anzalone. Now he's one of my favorite players. It was so bad. I used to say, "You just taking up Jack Campbell's space." Yeah. Now he's one of the most trustworthy individuals I have on there. Micro Mike, my predecessor, my guy. What do you think?
Hey, you know, it sucks that he got injured. He's such a good player for this football team, a captain, a guy that has really helped this defense to where it is right now under Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell. But just like we were saying there, Jack Campbell, he's filled in for Alex Anzalone many times now throughout his tenure as a Detroit Lion. He's done a phenomenal job. And I think with the pieces and how they built with grit, it's a player goes down and another player steps up. That's just how it is. And they really do that for this defense. And so it does suck. But at the same time, I think the Lions will be fine without it. And he'll be back for the playoffs when it really counts.
Yeah. John, same question to you.
Yeah, when you look at it, you know, it was tough to lose Anzalone. You know, now it's the fourth starter from the start of the season to go down. And you look at it, you're like, man, we saw Marcus Davenport in the locker room today. So it's good to see him, but he was wearing the elbow brace. Losing Davenport, Barnes, Hutchinson, and now Anzalone. The crazy part is that the Lions truly do have the next man up mentality. And now it's up to Jack Campbell, who's kind of showcased the second year that he's been able to learn from Alex Anzalone. And you knew that he was great in run defense, and now he's just continuing to grow in terms of reading his keys and in coverage, which is always tough. You know, these quarterbacks and these offensive these systems are really designed to try and fool defenses. But the more experience that Jack Campbell gets, the more confident that I think everybody should be that he's going to be a dog, and he's going to be just like Chris Spielman. And I think he's going to have a really, really, you know, maybe even an opportunity to develop faster because of this opportunity. And the crazy part was I didn't get a chance to tell him today. I was going to joke around a little bit with him. When Zadarius Smith got the sack and they start celebrating, who's a little bit in the background there? Take a look. Go back and watch it. That's 46. Jack Campbell loosening up a little bit, dancing, having some fun. And I think that's just great for a guy that takes the game ultra seriously, is a Bulldog, and also has been earning the respect of the coaches. Kelvin Shepard stood up there and said, look, Jack makes plays, he gets up, and then he's going to make another play. And he definitely respects the mindset. But for Jack to have a little bit of fun after a nice play, it's good to see a little bit. It's a fun game. And I just think that with Anzalone, you just got to give him credit for what he was able to do. There will be a drop-off, but not to the degree in which I don't think that, it's going to be significant, especially against the competition coming up. Maybe where it will come out, and, to your point earlier, to your question, the game I think everybody wants to see now, let's just fast forward to December, and hopefully they flex it to Monday Night Football. Lions-Bills, that's going to be heavyweight. That's going to be supremely, probably, maybe even a chance to be a Super Bowl preview. So for the Lions, their depth at linebacker has been tested, and now I'm curious to see if David Long can get that spark back from the time that he spent with Miami. He had a fall off of like an epic, situation where he was a team captain, and all of a sudden, within like 3-4 weeks, he's cut. So his fall off was pretty drastic in talking to Miami reporters. But moving forward, this defense really, at some point, people are going to be like, wow, the ability that they have to impact games with their turnovers, the properly named from Easy and the Crew, smash and grab crew is doing whatever they got to be doing to make it tough.
Smash and grab.
They're making it tough for the opposing offenses. And to me, this is great. This is what I think, if you love football from the defensive side, to see Brian Branch light someone up. I mean, I can't jump up and cheer in the press box, but the inside of me is like, oh, yes, Brian Branch lights up people, and Kirby Joseph takes away the football. So it's a violent group, and I just think that the next few weeks, you're just going to continue to see the growth from everybody on the defensive side, at least.
Yeah. Walt, from a scheme perspective, who do we have that's going to back him up, that's going to come in? I know you were really high on the guy we just signed, but is he going to come in right away? Is Rodrigo going to take the carries? Because I think Jack can do it. I'm confident, but last year he didn't give me a lot to go on, and a lot of his fan base, we love Jack, we value Jack, but this is going to be a big thing for him. So what do you think, Walt, from a scheme perspective?
I think it's going to be big for him, Jack, that is, in both cases, because not having Alex out there anymore with him, going to war with him, is going to be a gift and a curse, because now it's all on you. Now it's on you to make most of those reads and those decisions and make sure that everybody else knows their keys. And Jack seems to be a pretty bright kid. He went to Iowa. Those linebackers, they've been known to be some pretty good players. So at the end of the day, I think Jack will be fine. He's still going to have his ups and downs, his bumps. He's out there completely on his own now, so to speak. But I do believe David Long, and I know a lot of fans around here aren't familiar with David Long. Guy out of West Virginia, was the defensive player of the year in the Big 12 going back to, I believe, 2019. No, it's 2018. Undersized guy, 5'11", 225. He's not a pass rusher. I know everybody is obsessed with everybody in the front seven being a pass rusher, but that's not what David Long is. He's pretty much like a true Mike. He's gonna shoot gaps. And what's interesting is that for his size, 5'11", 225, he does take on guards, disengage, and make plays on the other side of scrimmage pretty well as well. Didn't test that well coming out, and you can imagine not testing well physically, also being that size, having that lack of size is pretty much the reason why he did slip. But for Lions fans, I would say think Zach Thomas, London Fletcher. For a closer example, Stephen Tulloch, an undersized linebacker that's a thumper, but is also damn good in coverage, especially man coverage in his case. And he's only 28 years old. And as Macaroon said, I don't know what the hell happened in Miami. Because if you go back to 2023, that was statistically his best season as a pro, his first year in Miami. And then out the blue, 7-8 games in this season. I know he did have the hamstring injury. I don't know if that played any role, but out of the blue, he was demoted to special teams, and then the next thing you know, he was out the door. So whatever went on in Miami, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Brad and Dan know. They're perfectly aware of it. They wouldn't have brought in any bad situation, any knuckleheads into the organization. But you're also talking about a guy who grit. Like he's like he's literally like no, but like David is literally a made man. You go from being a 6th round pick, being slept on. You go to Tennessee. Wasn't in the rotation initially. He started out on special teams. This dude worked his way from special teams into becoming the Mike.
6th round pick, yeah.
And then became a team captain. So you don't go from being pretty much the equivalent of an NFL walk-on, being a guy that's a 6th round pick going to just playing special teams to starting on defense to being the team captain. And then he left Tennessee and became team captain with Miami. So that right there, and Lamar, you brought this up earlier. I think that's a testament to his character as well.
Yeah.
So that's kudos to Brad and them. You already know that's what they're pretty much high on. And I told you, I wouldn't be surprised if he was here next year. I don't think this is just some fly-by signing. I think David Long is going to be here next year because he's a guy that provides them some versatility. Okay, you know what? That's another reason why I'm not worried about Alex being out, really. Okay. David Long, 6-year vet. He's been through this. He knows exactly what the position requires. He's going to be right there next to him.
Well, one person that, I'm actually eager to see is someone we just got back from injury, and that's Broderick Martin. I've been eager to see the B-Rock because matter of fact, I've had 30,000 views doing Broderick Martin content. So film study. I need this guy to show up because now he's making me look like a dud, So I was really high on Broderick coming out the draft. He wasn't one of my selections, but I was like, okay, I see it. We need Broderick back. We need Broderick doing something easy. Obviously, you're not only one of the most knowledgeable fans, but you also are one of the most knowledgeable individuals when it comes to these guys coming back from injury. Obviously, you're connected with the network, our competitor. But from a scheme perspective, what do you think Broderick is going to do moving forward? Because if we got the linebacker back there, we need somebody to get in that middle and really force pressure. So what do you think, Easy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that he's truly done developing. I just we like to say on the Woodward Heavyweights, we speak Campbell knees, and the times where he's underwhelmed by certain players, you kind of hear his voice. He's one that's not gonna, he's not short of words. He'll tell you how he truly feels at times. He may troll you sometimes, but it felt like Broderick still has some development to make. If anything, I'm not trying to get anybody too hyped about the return of Broderick Martin. I just think he's going to allow a breather once in a while for our guy DJ Reader, and I think that's what he's going to be moving forward. And unless he shows, James Houston, the guy that kind of didn't get a lot of snaps or a lot of love with Dan Campbell either. We didn't know if he's going to make the roster, but when he got on the field, obviously we saw in Houston he could make plays. Hopefully that's what Broderick does when he gets those opportunities, though. But I just see him as more of a, I guess, given more in rotation with DJ Reader, but more in that same role. You know what I'm saying? Eat blocks, take on your man, create opportunities for your linebackers, and obviously like to do a lot of those TE stunts as well too. But that's where I see Broderick Martin as of right now. I think he's still in the developmental phase.
Okay. Ted, are you familiar with Broderick?
Yeah, I am. I like the player. I liked him as he was coming out. And once again, we've already touched on this. Terrell Williams is going to develop him. So I would agree with that. I think he is still a developmental player. He's got a huge upside. He's going to continue to get better. But I also love the fact that this is a direct reflection and this is going to have a direct result on regardless who's playing linebacker, it's going to help them. So you put Jack back there because of the communication that they're going to lose with Anzalone, that's going to be prominent. But once again, I think trial by fire, this is one, I forget who made the point. It might have been John. This is a good thing for Jack. He's going to develop. This is going to be really good for him. I look at that position almost like the center when you replace a longtime center. I think back to like Dominic Raiola. When we had to replace Dom, a lot of stuff fell on Stafford at that point because Dom handled so much communication, and then that made Matthew have to adjust how he was actually entering a game because he had to take up a lot of that communication. So you're going to have a little bit of a similar situation there. That's why I love the safeties. You got guys back there that are experienced, guys that are going to be able to communicate and pick up that lost slack, but that defensive line is going to have a direct impact on whoever's playing linebacker. So to get a guy like this and his caliber and his upside back right now, I think it's huge. I think it's going to have a dramatic impact on this week.
Okay. And you're familiar with Terrell. Have you seen him develop guys like that were horrible, putrid, and just like, for lack of a better word, have you seen them like come to life in your experience in the NFL?
Number one, I will, and this guy's a really good friend of mine, and Ndamukong Suh is one of the most, I will say in a polite way, difficult players to deal with in certain ways, because he's a very opinionated player, but he is smart, man. He's a genius. So I love Damo. I have a great relationship with him, but it's because I've always kept it real with him, and he just appreciates people that are good. He loves Terrell. So I think the best sign off I could give, he loves Terrell Williams. When we actually got him to sign with the Rams, it was between us and Tennessee because he loved Terrell. So he was considering going back and forth. He chose me. So he came to LA and we went to a Super Bowl that year. But I think that's probably the best thing. He developed, I think Jordan Phillips is another guy I could point to that we got. He was a young player in Miami, and Terrell did a really good job with him. And I think you just look at him, his track record is pristine. He's done a great job. He has developed tremendous players, but he can also get through to the vets and he can help those guys. So I think that's a tremendous hats off to Terrell. That's a good hire. That's a great coach right there.
Yeah, we gotta collect those. We gotta collect those coaches like Infinity Stones. We gotta collect them. Hey, look. I didn't have that much familiarity with Terrell Williams, but I know who has. Talented researcher, Micro Mike. What do you think Broderick Martin is coming back? What's the temperature over there on your side of things, in your universe, about Broderick Martin coming back? Are people excited? Are they not? And what's your take?
It's literally the same thing that I've been hearing from everybody else there. Hey, that's weird. I didn't expect that. He's going to be a player that gives rest to DJ Reader. He's going to be a rotational guy at this point, still developmental process for him. But we have an opportunity here. I got a question for you guys. What is going on with Ifutu Melifonwu in his finger? He got off IR. I'm a legit question, and we got folks on here that may know. So anyone know what's going on there? Because I have no idea, and then I'll just listen.
Sounds a question for John.
Yeah. Let's real fast with Broderick, which is interesting too, because everyone wants to know how does a player that's young get on the field for the Lions, and it's consistency. And so early on, we learned, okay, this is a raw player. They wanted to develop him, and so you're talking about pad level, consistency, understanding, different rush patterns and everything like that. But a story came out too in the news, which was, in his first year, he played heavy. He was just, living next to a pizza place, eating bad foods, wasn't eating as clean. And so he made the decision to clean up his diet, and he looked, still gained the strength, but cleaned up his nutrition. And that can definitely help with recovery and help with, energy and things like that. But for Aaron Glenn, it's about consistency. It's like, hey, you can have one good rep, but for the Lions, they're cut and dry. If you're not showing it consistently in practice, you're not going to see the field, period. No matter where you're drafted, where you are, what your situation is. And for Broderick Martin, he was raw and inconsistent. And that's why, having DJ Reader in there to help. And like you guys have said with Coach Williams, and for young players, they just got to realize, hey, you gotta be a pro. You got to have the right practice habits, consistent, and you got to compete. And I do think that Broderick Martin was looked at as a developmental player, and now he's going to have an opportunity to get back into the mix and be part of this rotation. But you also got to remember too, they had Kyle Pecco, they had others as well that went down with injury that were ahead of him. So he's got some work to do to catch back up. Now, the Ifeatu Melifonwu story, in terms of the specifics, has just been tough in regards to, I don't know, certain times, certain players, I've tried to ask him for time to talk about the injury and talk about that, but he's just kind of one of those that at certain times is just more reserved. But all we can say in terms of facts is that he had an injury that he dealt with, got his way back on the field where he was in that evaluation period. I posted a video of his practice on Friday, and you see him making cuts. He looked good. Any foot potential, he looked like he was moving pretty well. Well, which you don't hear too often is that he gets re-injured in the 21-day period. And I know it can potentially be a situation in which, when you're injured, you're trying to get back on the field, and maybe you're compensating for one muscle and overcompensating, and maybe another injury results. But the specifics we don't know, but it's just been tough overall in regards to a player that really got everyone excited at the end of last year. And for him, I just think that, people were talking at the beginning of this year, like, wow, Branch, Iffy, and Kirby Joseph are just going to wreck people. But unfortunately, Ifeatu Melifonwu, I just kind of feel like, but my co-host partner, my podcast co-host partner is different than me. I'm like, you know what? When a player's kind of showcasing this many injuries over the course of his rookie, deal, I think it's time to move on. But he's like, you know what? If he's kind of like a perfect player that Brad Holmes might want to bring back for one more year to see on a smaller deal to see if there's something there, because there's potential. But it's just risk reward. I just think the risk is a little bit high because he's now on IR again. So that's another 4 games, another 3-week IR, evaluation. And it's just been tough because he's talented. You see the pure man-to-man ability, physical, can be, somebody that can be impactful, make plays, but he can't get out on the field and can't help. And you kind of, like you said, Easy, speaking Campbellese, Dan looked deflated talking about if he's like, another injury. It's another situation and it's tough. But, for Ted, it's just kind of funny too. And speaking of nutrition, you always hear the couple of these stories. The second year players always say the first adjustment they make is, man, I got to clean up my diet. I was eating terrible. Hutch said it too. He was like eating chicken wraps and which was funny was because when I first started covering the Lions in the locker room, it's open. So rookies would come in with bags of Chick-fil-A. And in my mind, I'm like, is this normal? And I'm like, and I didn't know. I didn't want to ask that. Like, Chick-fil-A, like, and sometimes I just ask the guys, like, how linemen, you understand, like, how many can you throw down, spicy versus not? But in my back of my mind, I'm like, this can't be healthy to be chowing down on 4 Chick-fil-A's, after practice. But, in the end, nutrition is important, and these athletes realize it. Typically, rookies seem to be the, I would think that they'd have a little bit more under control, but I get it. It's an adjustment period that, you're learning to be a pro for the first time. But he was eating pizza, fried chicken, all the bad things you weren't eating. Now he's eating, vegetables and salmon and doing the right things and stopping eating at 7. So he laid it out perfectly that he's, for Broderick Martin being a little bit more of a pro. But that was the funniest thing I've ever seen when the Chick-fil-A bags would float, like in 2019, 2020. Because my first thought was, this can't be clean. Like, how do you, but they're professional athletes. I'd say, well, they're professional athletes. They can burn it off pretty fast. But then they'd come back the next year and be like, I had to cut out the fast food. I got to, eat better and pick better options. So I think the Lions cleaned up their act a lot more with their nutrition for sure. Aleem did, and now Broderick Martin.
John, it's funny that you say that because honestly, and it's sad in some parts too. I've seen guys eat themselves out of the league, but I mean, we've gone to the great lengths because Uber Eats and some of the things that you can do now, and a guy's overweight constantly, and we're finding him every week, and it's not working. We're like, what the hell? We got him on the meal plan here. He's doing everything he's supposed to, and then we find out he's literally ordering 2 pizzas a night, and he's crushing them at his apartment, and you're like, bro, come on. But I think that's the one side of it. What really nutrition plays a couple of key roles. Number one, from a recovery and regeneration standpoint, because you got to think a practice, a weightlifting session, a game, you are completely tearing down muscle fiber and muscle tissue. So the physiological process that your body goes through, you need every little ounce of advantage that you can get in nutrition, hydration. Those are a huge one, because the other thing it does, it creates inflammation. If you're stuffing fried food, if you're stuffing high sugar things into your body constantly, you will not recover as optimally from exercise. You're not going to sleep as well. So now you lost REM sleep, you lost deep sleep, you lost your ability to recreate some of that muscle tissue to come back. So when you do look at players that get consistently injured, sometimes the layer that you ultimately stop at is, well, their diet is horrible. This is something that's causing unnecessary inflammation, and they can't recover from the exercise. Therefore, they can't get over this injury. So it's funny you touch on that, John. It plays a huge role, not just in performance and everything else that we know, but recovery and also that inflammatory response. You don't want inflammation. You're getting enough of it by playing football and taking on contact for 60 minutes. So that's a huge part.
And too, real fast too, it's in the chat too, in regards to Thursday, Friday, Dan runs a pretty rough practice. Like, let's just be honest. It's intense, whether pads are on or not. So it's just competitive, and you got, offense versus defense. And in those moments, all the reason why the Lions are playing well. And just to your point, Dan's kind of implemented a walkthrough schedule for the last 2 or 3 weeks because of the early bye. And I think it's been great. I think the players definitely respect it. They get the extra day to kind of recover mentally. They do go through walkthroughs, but then when Thursday comes along, the Thursday practice is intense, and they start to showcase what everything Dan wants to see. And everybody said it. Darius said it. Patrick has said it. These guys, we practice different, and it's clear. They say it emphatically. The lines practice different. It's competitive. It's one-on-one periods. It's repetitive in regards to situational periods. So Dan is running, a really, in my opinion, no bias here. I think that his practice schedule at this point in time is really conducive to guys developing and guys competing at the highest level and showcasing. When you heard about why Jake Bates was successful, Dan Campbell had put him through that situation before. So it's almost like memory to kick a 58-yarder in a pressure situation. To Jake, it's nothing. He's been through it. He went through it the Thursday before. Yeah. So I think that's really key to also, really to discuss why this football team is 9-1. Dan's got it rolling. But at the same time, for a guy like Ifeatu Melifonwu, it's just tough because you're competing against some really talented individuals. And it's just one of those deals where, he can't stay healthy. And I'm very curious to see if he's back next year.
Yeah.
I ate myself out of the league too.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. When you said all that about the chicken fillet, chicken wraps, I eat all that stuff. I eat all that stuff, but I can't imagine an NFL player. I'm getting paid for my body to be healthy, running routes. I'm like,
because
you never had a chicken sandwich from
Chick-fil-A. One of the early things you ask when a player comes back in training camp is, what'd you do differently? What's different? What's different about your training regimen? How are you better? And the first thing they always say is, man, my nutrition was not great my rookie year. And then the other stuff too, you just see it in the locker room. They just bring it in there and they're comfortable. They brought it in there. And that was during the Patricia era, though. I haven't seen the Chick-fil-A bags openly during Campbell's run, but that was crazy.
That was awesome.
I really wanted to say to somebody like, "Is this what you should be?" But you don't know when back then. I didn't know if like, oh, maybe this guy's bulking up or what this guy's doing. But you say to yourself, this can't be the diet that you got right now. So, but that was what's going on in the Patricia era, and that's kind of why maybe they didn't win many games and he got broomed out.
Shout out to the training team. Shout out to Jill Costanza.
Yep,
he was watching. And shout out to just the training team, the nutrition team, with guys like Ted Rath. We're always going to be fit and focused. Ted Rath, you would be my trainer, but I can't afford you. Walter Stringer, what do you think? What do you think in terms of we're getting Broderick back? You said what?
Got to buy Ted's book.
Oh yeah. Well, let's plug that book, man. Let's plug that book. So what do you think, Walter, in terms of just Broderick getting back, everything happening? Matter of fact, hey, I'm gonna call an audible here. I can do it. It's my show. Make me small, please. There we go. Make me small. There we go. So look, John Macaron, I want you to take controls. You ask the questions because I just lost on my little questionnaire here. I just lost them. So we're gonna continue with the Broderick Martin, and then we're gonna go from there. Is that all right?
It's all good.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I'm finally can dive into this now. I think in Broderick's case, coming out of Western Kentucky, I didn't see a lot of them. I was able to evaluate him a couple years prior because we're looking at Bailey Zappi and himself coming out. But dude was 6'5", 337. Now, what he played at Western Kentucky, I think was closer to like 350. So they already knew when they first got him in that what was going on at Western Kentucky. They said they had to pretty much completely rebuild him. Now, having Tyrell Williams in play, looking at how healthy I think Broderick looks now from a physical standpoint, he looks leaner. He looks a lot stronger. He looks a lot more powerful. He doesn't have that doughboy look to him that he had before. But I do believe the poor eating habits, that's just a thing with young players, man. I remember coming into the league, Calvin Johnson said the same thing about his diet. Adrian Peterson said it about his diet. And these are dudes who were 21 years old and were shredded that still had horrible eating habits. Jamar Chase just did an interview 2 weeks ago talking about how bad his diet is. And that was after a 200-yard game. So I think it's just a young player thing for the most part. You don't hear about it with the veterans too often. The only veteran I heard about that had horrible eating habits, and I remember Kurt Warner brought this up on one of his podcasts, and it was about Torrey Holt. And he said Torrey Holt every single day came to practice with some sort of fast food bag, whether it was McDonald's, it was Burger King, it was Wendy's. And he said Torrey ate this way his entire career. That that he was there. Chad Ochocinco, I call him Chad Johnson. Mama named him Chad Johnson. I'm gonna call him Chad Johnson. But Chad said the same thing about his career, that he ate horribly. So like some people are, you know what I'm saying, just genetically like that. I don't know how much better Jamar Chase would be if he ate salmon and Peter, you know what I'm saying, not Peter, but chickpea salads or whatnot, and drunk Diet Verners. But for the most part, man, you just don't know with some of these players. But and when it comes to the defensive tackle position, you got to be in shape. And a lot of times, you know, coming out of the draft, we see these projects. You look at Tavondre Sweat coming out of Texas a year ago. Everybody gets enamored by the huge football player that can move. Jordan Davis. People wanted us to take Jordan Davis number 2 overall. Remember? Simply because of what he did at the combine. And Jordan Davis, none of what Jordan Davis did at the combine shows up on film today. Mm-hmm. He still can't protect the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. He still gets pushed back. He doesn't two-gap well. He didn't do it at Georgia. He still can't seem to do it at Philadelphia. And I understand Eagles fans are never happy with anything. They complain about every single player they have, but they've been riding Jordan Davis pretty rough the last couple years. I listen to a lot of other teams' radio stations and podcasts, and, you know, Jordan Davis hasn't really been good. And if you look at Broderick, all he's expected to do, man, is just come in, protect the line of scrimmage, don't get pushed back.
That's it.
Be able to disengage, two-gap, make plays in the run game. The pass rush will come later, but just show that you're just not a big, useless body in the middle of the defense. Because that's the one thing you can't be as a nose tackle. You can't be a useless body in the middle of the defense, because if you can't demand a double team, everything else falls apart on that line of scrimmage as that nose. So he's got a great guy to learn from, I think, in DJ Reader moving forward.
No doubt. I think with the veterans on this team, man, that's where the good thing is that you still got a couple guys to pay attention to in terms of their development, in terms of Giovanni Manu and Broderick Martin down the road too. So that's always a good thing to do is to pay attention to the practice squad, pay attention to the developing players and things like that. And that's where this football team is really got a lot of depth. And Brad Holmes has done such an interesting job of putting this roster together, as you see teams like the Jets falling apart and you see just how sound the Lions are. But moving forward, it's a 9-1 football team. Any concern you guys have about the Colts? Dan Campbell today talked about Anthony Richardson, big physical quarterback, got benched. And unfortunately, you know, Joe Flacco didn't do much better and didn't give the coaching staff any confidence. I think this game is not going to be a blowout. I think this will be a little bit more competitive. The Colts are a football team that's still in the playoff hunt, and it's a road game, but I do think Sea of Blue is going to be there, and it's going to be an interesting game in regards to you know, the Lions and their approach to Richardson, because he's a little bit up and down. He can make plays, he can do some things, but at the same token, I think he'll be the factor again. I think maybe Kirby Joseph adds another football to his mantle in terms of getting after a young quarterback. Anything at all that concerns you guys about the Colts and this weekend's matchup?
Well, I think right now I've done a film study for Lions Nation. We got to get that to easy. Pronto. Should have did it 3 hours ago. But what I'm seeing from the Colts is the Colts like to spread. They like to spread, and that's not their strong suit, but that's just like what they like to do. They're a big arm football team, so they like to expose that big arm. One of their deep threats is a guy named Alex Pierce, and then they have Downs. He's going to be out in the slot, and then they have Pittman, who's out wide as well. They like this really spread and press. It hasn't worked thus far this season, but our corners are going to be challenged, and that's what I'm seeing from them. Is they like to be in trips bunch. They like to be spread out in a spread formation, and I'm concerned about Terrion Arnold. I know it always happens where every week I'm concerned about little T-Baby, whatever he's calling himself this name. I don't know what he's calling himself, but that's my concern. I'm always concerned about him. I don't know. That's my only concern. So that's it for me.
It's kind of tough to have concerns with this team, man. They're just so well-rounded everywhere. It's insane. I mean, even if Anthony Richardson were to like do what he can do in terms of like running the football, and I know that you and AG had some discourse on that conversation, John, talking about quarterback spies and whatnot. I don't know that it lasts the entirety of a game with a team as physical as the Detroit Lions. And even if like there's a sound recipe to beat the Detroit Lions, but it's almost like too good to be true because we have everything that counters that. AG is talking about the deep ball with them. Well, we got Kirby Joseph. They have a run game. Okay, well, we have one of the best run defenses in the league. It's just you would have to get to Jared Goff with a 4-man rush, and you'd have to control the time possession and run the ball efficiently. I just don't see that happen. Even if you didn't do the deep ball and just check the ball down, you got Brian Branch hawking down there. It's so weird to analyze these games and just know the Detroit Lions have a counter to like almost everything. But I guess Anthony Richardson would have to ball out of his mind. He played really well last week, though. I saw he was like, what, 23 of – he was like 28 or 33 or something like that, like 70-something.
28 or 33, yeah. And then he had a game-winning drive, and that's the film study I was going to do with you guys. He used his legs, he used his arm, and he was effective when it mattered. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's going to matter in this week's game. What do you think, Ted?
You know, I'm with you guys. It's my main concern is which Anthony shows up. Is it the Cam Newton looking version where he looks like he's Cam Newton in his prime, that last run, what you were just talking about, Lamar? I mean, he looked incredible. He willed that team to win, and I think he established a little bit of confidence in that locker room. But then I look at the defensive side of the ball. I'm actually not concerned at all. I think we're going to score points. The Detroit Lions are going to put up a lot of points like they typically do. But my other point here would be Shane Steichen. You look at what Shane Steichen was able to do with Justin Herbert during his time with the Chargers, but then he also had Jalen Hurts literally playing in an MVP caliber season. If not for Pat Mahomes, Jalen would have won the MVP the year we went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. So you look at Shane, he is an incredibly intelligent play caller. He's going to put Anthony into situations that are only going to let him be able to succeed. Now, how do we combat that? How does AG dial it? You need the safety play. You need the safety play to show up. You got to have Branch coming up and legally hitting people like he did last week. That's going to get in a wide receiver's head. And then you got Kirby picking the ball off. You got guys, as long as they continue to keep their identity, take the ball away, and do the things that a good physical, tough football team does, they'll be able to shut that down. But you got to respect this guy as an offensive quarterback because he is dangerous. He's got the legs. He has tremendous arm talent. The guy can spin it. So you look at some of those things, but I think Shane Steichen's my wild card too. He is a good play caller.
Absolutely. Oh, we lost the guy. Oh, John McElroom had to run, guys. So yeah, this should be a much manageable show for me. I ain't never had this many people in my life. Well, what do you think? Hey, can you leave it to a minute? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I only got 2 segments on the whole show now, man. Let me talk a little bit now. Don't make me feel like a stepchild out here.
Look.
Nah.
I will say, you are the best draft analysis person behind
man,
me.
Whatever.
You are the best draft analysis.
Whatever, man. Whatever. No, the Colts, I don't see it. I don't see it, man. For a team that struggles to score, as much as they struggle to score, as much as they struggle to sustain drives, they can't consistently throw the football. I think a lot of the stats they have passing the football were inflated last week. I don't know what came over Anthony Richardson, but on that final drive, man, he completed some big time throws that probably only he and 4 or 5 other quarterbacks in this league can complete. But problem is this, man. You don't sustain drives well enough. And I talked about this last week with Jacksonville. Jacksonville heading into that game with us were 30th in the league in time of possession. And I completely broke down exactly how that correlated with the offensive struggles they were having, as well as the defensive struggles they were having. Well, guess who's 32nd in the league in time of possession? Them dudes with that horseshoe on their helmet. Those dudes down there in Lucas Oil, man. And if you want to be honest about it, they haven't seen an offense like us all season. I understand Houston can score a little bit, but Houston's been kind of hot and cold this season. They've had their issues, wide receivers being in and out the lineup. And then on top of that, the Colts it's a divisional opponent. Y'all just know each other well. You're going to play Houston well, but Houston, Green Bay, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Miami, Houston again, Minnesota, who they held to 21 points. And they had 3 red zone turnovers. And then you're talking about Buffalo. Buffalo can score a little bit. And then the Jets. They haven't seen an offense like us all season at all. And I think this is going to really catch them off guard. I do like the defensive tackles. I think Grover Stewart is a hell of a player. Very underrated on the interior defensive line. We already know who Buckner is. Buckner is a versatile defensive tackle that can move up and down the line of scrimmage. But linebackers, no. Secondary, no. Consistency on defense, no. Team speed on defense, no. I don't see how it happens unless Detroit just goes there and has one of those. Because teams do have an issue. That's your boy, man.
I don't know.
No, teams. We've seen the Colts do it. We've seen the Ravens go through it last season. Teams do have a tendency to go to Indianapolis and get caught up in one of those weird games, man. Where you find it to be 19-17, late fourth quarter, whatever. But it's like they don't have an identity. And I agree with Avery said completely. You don't even have to watch the film. When you just watch Colts game in general, man, you have not Starks, but you had Jonathan Taylor. Why are you 20th in the league in rushing attempts? And you're 22nd in the league in passing attempts. And your quarterback's strong suit right now isn't throwing the football. Come on.
Yeah. And it's weird because they throw the ball on first down. It's weird. It's nothing like
they run the ball more with their quarterback than they do their running backs.
It's impossible. It's impossible to figure out what's wrong with them. So you're saying they're going to lose in those Blue Devils jerseys? They're going to lose in the Duke jerseys they wearing this week?
I like those, man. I'm not a big fan of the pants though. Not a big fan of the pants.
They look ugly, bro. They look ugly.
You
like it?
Who? I don't.
The Colts jersey?
I've always liked the Colts. You talking about the new ones? No, not necessarily. But I've always liked the Colts jersey. I like the uniform, the helmet, and everything. But none of that matters today. It don't matter whose helmet they got.
Right.
They had John Elway's helmet. Don't matter. Don't matter. Lions by 20. No, I'm just joking. No, I don't see any way they win this game unless we just completely go out there and we have one of those duds that every team is capable of.
What do you think? What do you think in regards to that?
In terms of how the game's going to go?
Yeah. Same way?
Honestly, pretty much the same way. I mean, I'll tell you this. I have this one hot take because I know you're worried about TA. Anthony Richardson, outside of last week, and I was actually very, very impressed. When I saw those numbers last week, I was like, who did that? 71% for Anthony Richardson? He's been like crazy inaccurate before last week. That's got to come back at some point. I mean, does he fix himself in 2 weeks like that? I don't know, but I think TA might get his first pick because of that. I think he's a quarterback so offer Terry Arnold. I know cornerbacks and man coverage is not going to come their way. Typically, interception opportunities like that anyway. But Anthony Richardson is so wild with it at times. I think TA can grab his first pick this game, and that's what I'm looking forward to. But in terms of keeping it competitive, I mean, I don't know. We might see some highlight plays out of those guys. I just don't see them beating Detroit Lions unless something crazy happens. I'm talking about obviously, health and whatnot.
No.
That's what I'm just saying. That's the only way. I'm not going to wood.
We call it every time on this channel. Something happened. Walt did it last time. I think it was Walt. It was Walt or somebody called it. We got a player or carted off the field.
Man, get out of here.
I think it was Walt. But
I'm pulling for Anthony Richardson, though, man. It just sucks that he has to play us this week.
Yeah,
because we have a tendency to take the spirit out of teams and players. I don't want this young man to go back to being down on himself. Because I think a big reason why he played so well was he spent 2 weeks hearing about the national media about how he quit. Mm-hmm. Even though I didn't make that huge of a deal about it. Anthony Richardson, I think he's one of those honest kids that's just too honest for his own damn good.
Yeah.
Because the media is not your friend.
I don't understand why the hoopla, though, because he wasn't playing well. There's so many great quarterbacks that sat. I don't understand why people are so pissed off about that. Like, it's okay to sit a quarterback. It's okay for him to sit back and learn. Especially from a guy like Joe Flacco who works the pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like Anthony always wanted to just make a splash play. It's okay to just methodically move down the field. I think it was important for him to sit and watch that and learn why he got benched.
It's hard to watch the Indianapolis Colts film. It's just hard. It's just a lot of quarterback design runs. It's like I'm watching a Wildcat back from 2008, but it's less exciting.
Yeah, it's like you watching a high school football offense.
Exactly.
Damn near.
Matter of fact, I'm watching Army without the wins. That's who I'm watching. I'm watching the
without the 5'9" quarterback.
I'm like, bro, this is an assignment. And they boring me, put me to sleep. Easy. I swear I was gonna do the video for you. They was just putting me to sleep, bro. My wife was like, "What are you doing now?" I'm watching film for E. I'm watching film for Lions Nation, but I can't stay awake. But I know you got to go easy, man. I know you got to go. Tell us where we can find you. Tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, man. At Speakeasy Sports, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky now. We'll see if that one lasts. Threads didn't last too long. But I'm also live from 5 to 7 on Wilbur Sports, Wilbur Heavyweights, and periodically on Sundays for sure, post games with Herman Moore on Lions Nation Unite, and periodically throughout the week. I think Thursdays I do a post game with Dion too for his podcast as well. But you also find all those things, Lions Nation Unite and Wilbur Sports. I gotta get a lot of you guys on the show a lot more often too, man.
Yeah. You definitely come on my show anytime, man. It's not even a feeler. You see, we put anybody. We got the Brady. We had the Brady bunch up here before. So we good, man.
Good cast. I would say Geneva. That's a good cast.
It was. I was bringing y'all talent level down. I was bringing it down. All right, easy speaks.
Speak easy.
Speak easy from the heavyweights. Everybody.
Sports, yes, sir.
Big Easy Sports. Because I was just gonna call you Easy like a normal thing like that.
That works.
Yeah. All right. Last question for you guys. Before I lose all of y'all to time and effort. What's the props and picks for you guys? What's the final score for this game? Because look, man, last time this guy down here, man, was telling me it's a buzzsaw meets a cigarette or something. He was telling me something crazy.
Man,
he said and I was watching playback. It was crazy. He was like, "Yeah, we gonna take him. It's gonna be a buzzsaw and a cigarette and a bag on the head, like the movie Taken." And he's like, "It's gonna be an execution."
I told this man clear as day, blindfold, cigarette, pistol. I told this man clear as day.
Sounds kinky.
Random broke up wooden chair in the middle of a dark room. That's what it is. That's what it is, man.
Look, for me, I'm a millennial, so you got to say stuff like Walking Dead season 2,
zombies.
Look at the flowers. Look at the flowers, okay? Look at the flowers. That's what you got to say. Look at the flowers, okay? I know exactly what that means. When you get bit by a zombie, okay, stay over there, little girl. Foul.
Oh, Jesus, man.
So, what props and picks do you guys have? Because I got it. We might as well put the 52 up. I never saw I see 52 from this team again. So, the 52.
I don't even know what the spread is on the game. You ain't got the spread?
Does anybody? I ain't got the spread.
Yeah, you.
You know what? You know what we should do?
Show host.
Yeah. Prodigal son, by the way. Prodigal son. Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you. Here's the spread. It's either gonna be a bloodbath, it's either gonna be a walkthrough, or it's either gonna be take your dog out to the park, to the vet. Okay, that's what it's gonna be. We're gonna leave him at the vet. He's not gonna come back. It's gonna be a bloodbath, or it's gonna be take him out to the woodshed, like you said, right? The woodshed. So, spread is -7. Oh, really?
Lions touchdown favorite on the road is still pretty big, man.
Mm-hmm. I hope so. I'm so. So, Walt, what you got?
Man, I got. I got them covering that 7 points.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll cover the 7 points. I think Richardson's design runs early is going to give us a problem. I'm talking about a dude who's 6'5", close to 250 pounds, can run 4.4, is willing to drop his shoulder and truck people. But we're willing to drop our shoulders and truck people too. So with the way they run Anthony, they get kind of careless at times. I think the way they run him isn't good for his development as a quarterback. And I just don't see it happening, man. I don't think he's accurate enough of a quarterback. But I will say this. If you start talking about hammers. And I heard Dan Campbell make this comparison with Lamar Jackson a year ago and Josh Allen. Some guys in this league are just dominant physical talents, and they can catch you on any given Sunday and hammer you. And that was the first thing he said about Lamar last year. He said Lamar hammered us. Josh Allen, a couple years ago on was Thanksgiving that we lost to him, Josh Allen was able to hammer us. We gave Josh the ball down the stretch. Josh made a mutant throw the way Josh makes mutant throws, got them immediately in field goal range and beat us. AR has the talent. Definitely he has the talent. I understood why they took him where they took him. If you consider where the Colts came from. So who should they have taken, sir?
No. You're going to say all that nice shit. See, I already know how you do. You do
no,
that
man, I give people a complete breakdown, so it leaves people like, damn, I can't even argue with this dude about
let me
nothing.
move over, get my camera.
I can't even argue with him, man.
Look, if you ever been fired before, you know, if you ever been fired before, you've done such a great job. You've answered the call. You've worked in sleep.
I've been fired. I've been called back too. The way Anthony Richardson got called back.
They say all that nice shit and then say we're gonna have to let you go. Or he gonna say all that nice stuff and say 42-1.
42-1. How did they manage to get one? Vegas rears his ugly head again, huh? 1. No.
Right. 42-3. What?
No, I do think he's gonna make some plays with his legs, like he usually does. He's gonna make a splash play here and there. He's gonna make something to make you sit up in your chair and say, "Damn, what the hell?" But at the end of the day, Detroit's too well oiled of a machine. The coach, you talking about Grover Stewart? He rested all week, didn't practice. I know Buckner's dealing with a foot injury, so he may still play, may not. I'm pretty sure he will play. They don't have it, man.
What's going to be the score?
I would say Detroit cracks 30 again. I'll give them 35-10.
You see all that nice shit. See?
No, because listen, dude, the Colts, are they a bad football team? No. Are they on our level? No.
Well, you heard it here first.
And then look who they played all season, man.
They in a bad division.
They walking into some real offense. We about to up the difficulty. We are all Madden over here. It's about to be rough it's gonna be rough on them boys Sunday, man. It's gonna be rough.
All right, Ted Rav, what do you think?
I agree with Walt. I do think Richardson will present problems. I think he's playing with confidence. He established some confidence. I think they'll score a little bit up front. But what I say is this: if he's going to play that freestyle and he's going to try to drop shoulders, he has not seen a team as physical as these Detroit Lions. So if he wants to show up, he might not finish the game if he's going to try some of that stuff that he traditionally does. So I think it's going to be 31-17. I think they'll score a little bit. But you got to continue to watch, how this guy plays the game against this defense. They're going to come after him. And on offense, we're going to score. They're going to score points. Ben's going to dial it up. Jared's playing out of his mind. We didn't even talk about this. How did Jared respond to throwing all those interceptions? Then he comes back and throws for 400 yards with a perfect passer rating. Right. This kid doesn't care about anything except the current play. You have a team like that because they've taken on that mentality. They're going to go out there. They're going to score 30-plus points. They're going to win this game easily.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, you were a little less nice, but you were still nice. I got you. Don't worry. I got you. I'll be the Batman to your Superman and Aquaman. I'll be the Batman. Look.
Man, listen, I'm more like Wolverine. Don't compare me to Aquaman now.
Indianapolis. I'm talking to you. Indianapolis. Pierce. You're one of my favorite players. Pierce. Take the day off. Clock out for me. Hey, look, it's going to be a bloodbath, bro. You might as well get treatment this week, not play. Get ready for next week. Y'all, matter of fact, coaching staff, get ready for next week. We ain't even – all you got to do is show up and lay down. That's all you got to do. And I got him. I'm going to give you some respect. 52-3. That's my respect. The 3 is the respect. Because you got to put points on the board. It's the Lions. You're going to move the ball. We're 25th in passing defense. So look, you're going to move the ball, bro. So get that field goal kicker ready. Get your 3 and get up out of there. All right. Can we agree on that? 52-3. I just had to talk my stuff, man. I'm sorry, Walt. I had to talk my stuff. I know you guys are like, Aquaman and Superman and stuff. I'll be the Dark Knight. I'm the one who comes at night. Okay, I'm the one. All right. But hey, look, it's gonna be real bad. It's gonna be so bad. They're gonna be hot dogs on the field, man. Amon Ra gonna take a lunch break. We had film study on the coast.
What about this guy here?
Oh yeah, he just pops up. Oh yeah.
And threw me out though.
Don't worry. He's got a number on this show already. But hey, remember, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Hey, no, matter of fact, Darcy, come in here for 1 second.
Can we
Add you to the stage. What's your prop prediction, my producer?
This was the best show. You guys got to give yourself a big round of applause. You had all the All-Stars on. Credit all you guys. I know Avery, it was stressful for him because he had 6 guys on, but Ted, you just knocked it out of the park, and Walter, you did too. A little bit long in your takes, but are we still live? Shit.
Yes. Yes.
I'm the producer.
I only got 2 takes.
It's like he don't produce. He don't know.
What y'all want me to do, man?
I love you guys. No, all love.
What's your prediction for the game? Well,
I already gave mine. Yeah, Darcy.
Darcy. What's your prediction for the game? You don't get out of here that easy. What's your prediction
for the Colts?
Yeah.
So I do film study. I'm a former coach for 10 years, and so what I think we should do as base is 3-4. And kind of play a wide 9 because they wanted they run like a read option all the time. When he goes under center, it's a run play.
Yep.
The Colts do not run play action pass at all. But what they do is a read option. And that motherfucker, Anthony Richardson, 10
This is a great show.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're good. You're good.
But
keep going.
Anthony had 10 rushes in that game for 34 yards.
Damn.
Yeah. So
what's your go ahead? What's your prediction? Like the score prediction?
So like 38-10.
Damn. So it's closer to Ted Rath and Walter Stringer.
And Walt. Yep.
Y'all really think they'll get a touchdown?
I think they'll score.
I think it's very likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anthony Richardson can get one. Jonathan Taylor can get one. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if Richardson will get one through the air.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that.
All right. I bet 20 apiece on you guys.
That the Colts don't get in the end zone, period?
Yes. 20 apiece.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Okay. You look like a Zell guy, so I'm gonna get download Zell.
We got Zell, whatever you need.
I got you. But remember, guys, like, comment, subscribe. This was a great show. It was very well organized. And Ted Rath, Walter Stringer.
I'm sorry.
Darcy. Okay. Ted Rath, Darcy, everybody. Thank you for coming for the show. Walt Stringer and Darcy. This was a fantabulous production. Every Wednesday, we can do this show. We can make it happen. Tell us where you're at. Tell us where we can find you. We lost one of you.
We lost Walt. So at Ted Rath Strength Coach, all the social handles, YouTube channel. I do some other NFL stuff, kind of based around fantasy league stuff every week too. Usually comes out on Saturdays. So check that out. Have a book coming out that will be out December 10th. So stay tuned, just in time for Christmas. I'll keep you guys posted on that. But great to be here. Great to talk Lions.
Yeah. I want to personally say this video is sponsored by Turbo Coin. Shout out to Turbo Coin. We made a couple exits today. Pack it up.
Can I say something?
Absolutely. I was about to get to you. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. This show is about to be sponsored by Fanzone Beer. If you don't have Fanzone Beer, they have all the superstars on the beer can. Make sure you go to your local Meijer and get your Fanzone Beer because this is a potential sponsor.
Wonderful. Well, wonderful. I didn't even know we had a sponsor. I didn't even know we were getting money like that.
No,
You
no.
must be like
You guys are about to get paid.
oh yeah? Okay. Hey, look, Ted, you know the money gonna go to you. You sucking up the budget.
No, he has
Like-
enough money.
You like Chris
He's coached in the NFL
like-
for 16 years. He's got enough money.
he like
I'm
Chris
telling you.
Evans in those Marvel movies. He like Robert Downey Jr. in those Marvel movies. I'm over here looking
I'm
like a
telling
Falcon.
you, Wall has hush money. He's already
Wall has-
showed me. No, Wall has
Yeah.
hush money.
I know.
You didn't call me a criminal, man.
Yeah. Walter was part of BMF. I know. Back in the day. He's like, like,
Oh,
comment,
this
subscribe.
man.
Shout out to you guys. Thank y'all for coming. We out.
Thanks. That was fun.
Fine season, homie. It's not about today. It's about the future. You do the work now, and all of the that you could ever want to do for your family, your kids, your loved ones, it's all going to be on a whole nother stratosphere. It's time to stay focused.